Dr. Turtleboy. Aidan Kearney is here. Oh, it's a hostage video. Where are you, dude?
I'm in the garage right now.
You're in the garage? Okay.
Yeah.
Are you all right? Just blink.
I'm good.
If there's
I'm
a
good.
problem.
You're good.
Okay.
Okay. All right, that's good. You're not in a sally port.
No, not in the, well, I'm not inverted, so.
Well, thank you for joining. I know it's been crazy to say the least, and I think we ought to just jump right into the. I mean, this happened less than an hour ago, from what I can tell. Cosgrove, the DA, special prosecutor in your case, which is primarily witness intimidation cases, has asked the judge for an ASAP hearing to get into what? We're guessing things on your phone. What do you know?
I don't even know what it's about. I'm trying to talk to my lawyers about it. They just got news of it. I assume it's about getting the content, the stuff that the judge ordered for the Rule 17 over to, Hank Brennan. But like I said, there's literally nothing to hand over. Like the order is pretty strict. It says that they get access to any messages with Karen Reed concerning witness intimidation, basically messages I sent witnesses or things I discussed about whatever. Like, no such messages exist. So there's quite literally nothing to hand over. And so, my concern is that Cosgrove needs to really follow. They need to follow this order to the letter of the law. And it's like, you don't get anything else, nothing else. Like if you have me and Karen talking about anything else that is not, which we didn't talk about the witnesses ever. Like
who's deciding that? Who's going through it? Is there?
That's what I'm saying. I don't understand this.
There's no taint team.
I never talked about that.
So it's like, that's what I mean. I don't trust these people, but they'll be honest. It's like, you don't just get to hand over any messages with Karen Reed in my phone. There was a few text messages in there when we weren't on Signal. But those messages are not, there's certainly nothing incriminating on them. But like I said, like you don't get to hand them over. Like if we're talking about the facts of the case, if we're talking about scoops I have, if we're talking about investigative journalism I've done or what I've uncovered in my journalism, which is all we talked about was just the case itself, you don't get to hand that over. I mean, these people think that her and I just sat around plotting witness intimidation. We literally never talked about the witnesses.
Who was going to discuss that? I mean, who in their right mind is going to say there? Maybe unless you're on Signal and you're right now with the administration. I'm just kidding.
Signal's getting a bad rap right now.
Signal getting a bad rap at this point. Yeah, but who discusses that? Oh, let me take my phone and let me discuss witness intimidation. You're a journalist. You're a journalist. Well, you broke the story.
You know them. They call everything witness intimidation. So that's the problem. Is like if you discuss. I think they're definitely looking for like, are there any messages about the rolling rally? They're obsessed about the rolling rally. And there's nothing in there about the rolling rally. I never discussed the rolling rally with her. Why would I bother her with this? My only interest in Karen Reed was like finding, information out about the case that I'm covering.
You're interested in her as the get. She's what we call in the business the get, right?
Yeah, she's the main character. She's the subject of my reporting. And so that's my interest in her. I have no interest in telling her that I'm holding a protest this weekend. That was all me. Like she had nothing to do with any of that stuff. So, But
I don't see anything wrong with that. I see nothing wrong with that. If you're telling her, well, you're holding a protest. So what?
Yeah. Even if I did that. Yeah. If I had done that, it wouldn't matter.
I mean, it's so scary figuring out who the gatekeeper is on this stuff, because I don't, from what I've seen, I don't trust anybody either. You physically have already turned over whatever phone they want to look at or not?
They took my phone when the police.
And so it's still in their custody. It has been.
Yeah, forever. Brian Walsh got his phones back. I didn't get my phone back. They gave us a download of the phone that I can't even open because the file's too big, so I can't even go through it. It's not compatible with the Mac, of course. But I am able to see my messages with Karen Reed on there, the text messages. The Signal ones, nothing comes up because Signal is encrypted and it auto deletes, and that's the whole point of it. But often the messages are just like, go to Signal. It's like, because, and they're like, well, why would you go to Signal if you're not doing anything wrong?
Yeah,
because it's the most American way to communicate. Like, why would you want Big Brother reading your messages? Like, we're doing that because we don't trust the government. We don't trust.
Right.
Like, it's really simple. Like, we don't. And it turns out it was completely justified. Like, that was a really good idea.
That's the irony. Yep.
These are tyrants who are overstepping their boundaries and are using the law to declare warfare on journalists because they're saying things they don't like and take away their constitutional protections. So why wouldn't I protect myself? Like, I don't, her, if I'm discussing with her a source that I have within the state police or a source that I have within the district attorney's office, of course they'd like to see that, but they don't get to see that because that's a private conversation between a journalist and the source of his reporting. And, ironically, like a lot of the messages that her and I had, it's like sometimes, she was the reporter. Like sometimes like she would find out information from me. Like there's one thing included in the most recent filing Cosgrove had in my case. He quoted it, so it's out there. It's like, she says something to the effect of, I forget the exact thing. It was something to the effect of like, oh, Alan wants to blast this, or something like that. Like I forget what it was. Like, do you have the memo? This is in the filings. Do you have the memo town employees were emailed about speaking to you or other reporters? Alan wants to blast it. So that's in the most recent filing. And so that's in regards to, that was like August 8th, 2023. That was right after I wrote the Lucky Loughran story about the plow driver. And I had interviewed him and it was kind of a big story. And after I broke it, Lucky like called me like crying. Like he was so upset. He's like, I'm going to lose my job over this. They just sent a memo out at work telling us we're not allowed to speak with the media and this and that. Like he was so worried. And I told Karen that like, oh my, this guy is freaking out over this. Like they're like threatening him for talking. Mm-hmm. And so she's like, can we get that memo? Like that we want to blast that memo because they're trying to literally talk about intimidating witnesses. Mm-hmm. This guy's literally a witness, arguably the most important witness in the entire trial. And they are trying to scare him. Like, is it like you're going to lose your job, which is what he loves to do. Obviously, just plow the roads. You're going to lose your job if you don't testify about this. Like that's witness intimidation. Like the thought of economic, harm, like losing your job. And so that, like, why wouldn't you want to release that? Like, why wouldn't you want to make that information public? We're not intimidating the witnesses. We're reporting.
Right, reporting on what's happening. Reporting on what could be intimidation, or some may say could possibly be obstruction of justice too. And it's done. Just so people out there think that it's not done. When we tried Aaron Hernandez, we had a driver, a street sweeper, coming through the crime scene while the police were there. And of course, he was our witness. We were going to interview him. And of course, they brought him in with a phony subpoena that he was going to testify in the court, the cops. He testified for us, but eventually he did have to lose his job. All right. So it happens, everybody. Don't think it's so pure out there.
I don't think anybody thinks much is pure in this particular case. That's for sure. Hey, let me ask you this to the degree you can share it. As a witness, at least listed witness, I know they want to keep everybody out. Any move on getting excluded from the sequestration?
I mean, that's our next maneuver. Whatever, my lawyers are working on it, so I don't know what they're doing, but they are doing something. So we'll see what they come up with. Yeah. I mean, it's really messed up. Like, this is my livelihood is writing, and the trial this is going to be the most watched trial in the country, part 2, arguably bigger than the first one.
And I think no doubt.
Because of the HBO thing, and it's getting a lot of publicity nationwide. A lot of people who didn't know about this case before are going to tune in and watch it. It's it's the most entertaining trial ever with all these witnesses. Like, it's just crazy. And, to not be able to discuss that and watch it, you are literally taking away my ability to feed my family. Like that's what you're doing. Like, this is how I make a living. And because you're doing a crafty maneuver here, you have no intention of calling me as a witness. Zero. There's no way I'm going to be called as a witness, but putting me on this list is simply a way to prevent me from not only being in the courtroom, but from even doing my show and making a living.
Yeah, and I think you have a good argument in the sense of, didn't you also put the attorneys, some of the Karen's attorneys, on the witness list? Eddie, Jackson, right? And how can they be sequestered from being in the courtroom? So, you can add all you want to the witness list, but there has to be a prima facie showing. But the problem you have is you don't trust anybody to give you a fair hearing. That's the problem, I see.
Right. I don't trust any of these people at all. So their intentions are bad. I mean, what would Hank ever want to put me on the witness list for if he knows he's not going to call me? This was by design. And Peggy O'Keefe's comment to me on the way out of like, what the hell is he doing here? It's like, clearly she had been promised, like, oh, he'll be out of the picture. Like, he won't be here. Like, we'll take care of that. And so obviously this is what they plan to do.
And how does Judge Sositsky still get this now? Wasn't he just on the case temporarily because your main judge was on vacation? Shouldn't it go back to the judge who was handling this? Because this is like, you get these notices, like your attorneys get these notices like 5 minutes before they're going to happen, it seems to me, right? Yeah. There's not the courtesy call, like, I'm going to file this and this is what we're going to do. And, do you have is it okay? Should we do this tomorrow, the next day? Usually the common courtesy attorneys will give. I don't see that being given to your attorneys.
No, I don't see that being given to them at all. Like, we just found out that we're going to have a hearing tomorrow or Friday. Like, so that's just okay. I had stuff to do, but whatever. It's like, you got to deal with this now.
Is this on something different, or is it related to this?
I think it's this phone thing.
The emergency,
right?
The emergency.
Yeah, it's like emergency. It's like,
okay.
Yeah,
so Cosgrove should be on the beach somewhere. Just
and why should it be why should it be an emergency? Is Hank Brenner planning to open with something? Is he planning to try to arrest you again on some reason? I mean, what
would they arrest me for?
Nothing. I know, but I'm not saying that it's a valid arrest. I'm just saying, are they trying to do something else? I mean, what's the emergency here? Because they're picking a jury on Monday?
Yes, that is most likely the emergency is time.
Yeah.
They need to get this done before the trial. So,
Wow.
Well, speaking of jurors, just when you think you got all the weirdness out of this thing, a juror becoming a member of the defense team, an alternate. But tell us the backstory as you know it, because you had contact with this former juror, right? Is this one you talked to, or is this a different one?
I've never spoken to this one.
You've never spoken to this one. I can't keep all of them straight with those you've talked to and those you haven't talked to.
Yeah.
And so she was on the larger panel, was excused as an alternate, is an attorney, apparently not a criminal attorney in background, but now she is because she's on the defense team. What are your thoughts on that?
Pretty wild.
Yes, pretty wild.
Pretty smart.
Just when you thought this story couldn't get crazier. Pretty smart, you say?
I think it's pretty
agree.
Smart.
Why do you say that? Just because
I'll tell you, because when she first came out and had the little statement that about being fair and all, I think on our show I said the defense should go grab her right now. She should be there. She should consult on what they should be doing. So I think it's pretty smart. Not only that, but make her a attorney for Karen Reed, because everything is privilege that she then says.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, she is like a jury consultant plus, like a jury consultant on steroids.
That's what I said. That's what I thought.
And she's got the attorney-client privilege now. Okay, when she gets hired, simple as that. So what are they going to do? Come after her? Come after her and say, "Well, there's no sanctity of the jury room because she wasn't in the jury room. She didn't deliberate.
There's no conflicts. It's really the perfect scenario. All right, and I love it. I love it.
I guess it's smart, So, I guess she can talk to them about what worked, what didn't work. Who knows? Sure. But can't imagine her actually being in the courtroom for this, because it's not like she's going to cross-examine any witnesses. But I would assume there's things that she can do at war room meetings and behind the scene and whatever. So
insights that she can provide that not too many others could. So
an image of bias, and this is perfect because an image of bias is what we're all how does Hank get these hearings? Hank Brennan get these hearings scheduled at a moment's notice, but you go through 3 judges over 5 months and nothing happens?
I don't know. It's a great question. So,
Great question. And we heard today that Judge Cosgrove actually was in the investiture ceremony for Judge Beverly Canoni. Did we hear that right?
Yeah, he was the opening speaker at our Judge Superior Court, whatever, commencement.
Yes. So everybody
it's also incestuous, man.
Everybody's really is. I mean, it's just so. So somebody else had this, Linda Michael. How do you know? Oh, I'm sorry. I know the friend of Higgins who did the screenshots from at the federal building was an expert for Celebrate for Hernandez case. No, the friend of Higgins. Okay, we'll have to follow that up a little bit further, but I'm putting that on the screen for everybody to see. Thank you for that donation, nightclubs. Yeah, thank you for that donation. But Aidan, you were in the courtroom this week, and I know Michael has a little clip because we were in the courtroom when, as I said, the whole of the United States legal profession held their breath that all of a sudden attorney-client privilege was going to be breached because a client gave a statement allowing some of what she wanted to say because the client holds the privilege and then stopped. And then because of that, the state Brennan went after her to try to get the privilege breached with Mr. Yannetti. But do you have that clip, Michael?
Yeah, I do. We talked about this as the scope of what was going to be allowed, if anything, right? So this is kind of scary. I think we want to get in the mind of Aidan Kearney as we watch these two different clips of they unfold, and you're in the courtroom. So give me a second here. Let me find the first of the two.
Find it, thank you, Paranoia, Victoria.
Let's start with the one I think you just mentioned, which is more about the privilege, right? And so we can see you in the background there.
Hard to miss.
The protection of the attorney-client privilege. With that law jurisprudential predicate in mind, I now turn to the statements at issue here and their import to that analysis.
Okay, she's interrupting now. What's your thought? What do you think is going to happen?
There you are, by the way, in case you can't see yourself. You've got your hand.
Yeah.
And first you're looking at the attorney, and then you turn and you looked at the judge.
So what's it go through your mind right now?
Is she gonna shut him up again? Is she gonna yell at him again for talking too much? But no, this time she told him to stop talking because she had already made up her mind. And she was, no matter what he said, she was going to deny the order no matter what. So she's like, I just don't want to hear this guy's voice anymore. And I want to get out of here before 1 o'clock lunchtime. So we're going to call it a day right now.
Let's roll it here.
I'm going to stop you.
I think I saw some raised eyebrows there, Aidan.
It's natural.
Yeah, that was as shocking because she did something as what she did. That's just not her way generally. So
yeah, I mean that shows you how weak the motion was and absurd and unheard of, like unprecedented to have. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I think she said like I can't even get those. Like it's like you're not getting them, Hank. Like no, just another loss for Spanky. All he does is lose. In fairness, he's getting his witnesses in. Like I don't think there's been a single witness yet that she said no bueno to.
I agree.
On both sides of the aisle. They've all, I mean, the ridiculous ones on their side, Crosby, this new Dr. Isaac, he's going to be their new medical examiner. They're not going to call Scorty Bello, which is just wild.
Dr. Isaac is a new witness. Where's he from? He or she?
He's from Miami.
Miami. Okay. How
He's
about the neurosurgeon?
That guy does that. That guy's going to say is he the one that's going to say the ground is hard? No, he is the neurosurgeon.
That's Wolf. That's Wolf.
Isaac Isaac Wolf.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm sorry. I got Isaac Wolf. That's his name is Isaac Wolf. By the way, Gretchen is a new member. Thank you for coming. You come on a great night to see Aidan because he's the man, boy. And nightclubs again, another donation. Matt Kellis did the extraction for Hernandez. So we'll talk more about Hernandez nightclub. We can't wait to hear more of your input. Yeah, I know he's going to try to get around he can't sign a death certificate, Aidan, as you know, unless it's his patient that dies, right? In a non-suspicious way. What do you hear of how the prosecution, actually I have two questions. How did Hank react to the denial of getting his way on the attorney-client privilege? That's my first question. The second question: what do you hear about how Dr. The neurosurgeon, I'm going to call him, gets to come in? In terms of the relationships, how did the prosecution find him?
I don't know how they find. That's a great question about how they're finding. Like, how do they pick these witnesses, these experts from Miami? How did they pick Jessica Hyde? How did they pick Ian Whiffen? Like, there's no way that these guys are just their first choices. Like, they pick these people because they're saying the things that they want them to say.
Right.
Whereas the prosecution experts the defense experts are all people. A lot of the time, like Marie Russell contacted them.
Yeah.
This new medical examiner that they have from the state of Rhode Island, she was the medical examiner for like a decade in Rhode Island. And I heard she's going to have some bombshell testimony that stay tuned for that one. And they're going to try to discredit her. And, but good luck to Spanky. This is, the witnesses for the defense are going to be excellent in trial too. Spanky will have more of his expert people like Judge Welcher. They have this whole PowerPoint that's going to show how we ran him over the car. It's like, bring it on. Like, no matter what you do, the theory of John O'Keefe getting hit by a car is just so patently absurd that whatever theory they come up with is just going to be cartoonish. And it's going to be really easy to say, well, if this happened, as you claim it did, then why not this? Like, if he got hit by a car, why are there no bruises? Explain that. Explain the lack of damage to the vehicle. Explain the fact that, why was his phone underneath him? There's so many things that just aren't, you can't just say the ground is hard and that's why his head split open. Like, that's a blunt object that did that. Like, the ground itself is not like, there's no, like, it's not like a lead pipe that hit you in the back of the head. That's what did that. Something specifically, a sharp corner on a stair. There's a lot of things that could have done that to the back of his head, but the ground did that. Give me a break. That's the arm.
Even if it did, that's still not linked to Karen Reed. So, so many other things could have allowed that to happen if you believe it. He stumbles, he falls, he's drunk. A lot of things could have happened that aren't related to her bumping into him and sending him to the ground.
There was a car seen there, a Ford Edge seen outside at 3:30 in the morning. There was no body there. And then a Ford Edge appeared, and then there was a body. This guy allegedly got ran over by a car. That's what they claim. Maybe you should find the driver of the Ford Edge.
Ford Edge. That's interesting. That's a novel thought.
And they say that, well, we didn't follow up on that because it was incredible that it was a Ford Edge. Doesn't matter. It has 4 wheels and a motor. Okay. That's what makes it a car. And the fact of the matter is, you claim he was hit by a car. I don't care if it was a Hyundai Santa Fe or a Honda CRV or whatever. It's a vehicle. Find it and talk to the driver, because whoever that driver is allegedly was sitting directly next to a dead cop. He's an eyewitness in a case in which you guys claim that the victim was hit by a car. Go find him. And it's just like, and that's what's always been so obvious to me about how this is a cover-up. It's not what they did do. It's what they didn't do. It's like, we're not stupid. We know you would find that driver if you actually thought that, if you were actually being open-minded about this, if you actually thought maybe someone besides Karen Reed didn't do this, but they're not. Like, Karen Reed was their guy, pinned it on the girl within a couple hours, and tunnel vision from there. And it's like, yep, nope. And now we're just dealing with stubborn douchebags who are refusing to comply.
Yeah, they're just so arrogant about the whole thing. It's like you question what they didn't do, and they don't care. They just brush it off, like, don't worry about it.
And I did some research just quickly before we got on the air of Dr. Isaac Wolf. He's made a lot of money apparently in gamma knife stereo surgery for his. You could just put all his articles. He didn't sign death certificates. He didn't talk about contra coup injuries, which, by the way, boxers get from within a fight.
That's a very interesting angle. I can't wait to hear that on Cross, because if those injuries are the type you get from boxing, I don't know. Was there any fisticuffs going on that night that might have led to Officer John O'Keefe's death? I don't know. I think that's such ripe cross examination.
Yeah, he also dabbled in employee compensation appeals boards for people unsuccessfully. throw that down on the floor.
So you're impressed by this guy, LKB.
He also did. He's in a 1990 U.S. News magazine. Very quick, Dr. Isaac Wolf. How doctors decide who shall live and who shall die. Oh, that should be some fun cross-examination.
Yeah, I'm sure Bob Alessi will have all this, and he'll cross-examine the heck out of him, and even that should be good. So I'm not that worried about it. Like a lot of people, it's like my biggest worry is another mistrial. And then because they're going to do it again. They've said that. Like, these are bloodthirsty people. Like, they don't care how bad anything looks.
It's insane.
They'll just keep doing this. They want to wear down your will to do this. And we're going to keep doing this forever. But me personally, it's like there's only so like this with my I'll feel a lot better when my charges are gone.
Of course you will.
So that'll feel a lot more comfortable. Like, while those are still pending, it is you feel like you're on thin ice constantly. So.
Well, please pass the pepper. Thank you for that donation. She can't get out of her own way. Judge Beverly Canoni is an embarrassment to all educated women. She discussed me. Thank you. And you validated. So I'm glad that I validate. I hope I validate everybody who's for truth and justice being served, right? That's what we hope we're doing here. I took a lot of heat, by the way, after you were on the first time, Aidan. Interesting. Justice Served TV did, and Michael Bryant did, but I took a lot of heat. I give it right back. I mean, how dare we have you on to validate you? Well, you're the one who broke the story. Without you, this story doesn't exist.
Yeah, it also drives ratings. Like, you got a lot of viewers. Like, let's be honest. It's like, so that's what these people don't understand is that, like, I don't care what you think of me. Like, you put me on your show, you're gonna get a lot of viewers. Period. Done.
Yeah, but we're looking for you because you have the information. I mean, It's not so much that you have.
Well, I mean, that's why the viewers come, is because I have information. You know what I mean? Like, and that's why people like Betterow too. He drives views too, because like he's got the information. He's smart. Like, people want to hear that insightful commentary that they can't get anywhere else, and that's what you get from me.
Yeah, look at this nightclubs. I'm being a little sarcastic, I think. Did you see the new motion and carry book reports from grade school? Macaroni necklace, pinky promises. Yeah, like they're going after everything. Like, it is bullshit,
So, Aidan, you were in the courtroom the first time, and with his new expanded buffer zone, specifically mentioning, noise coming into the courtroom from the street. Tell me what it was like when you were in there, and whether you think this is appropriate to expand the buffer zone.
It's bullshit. I mean, nobody heard a single. It's just a lie. This all comes from one juror. He's the only juror whose opinion seems to count on anything. The foreman. He wrote that affidavit crying about this. He's the only one that said he could hear people outside during deliberations. Newsflash, I mean, people have a right to make noise outside. Like, I mean, you can go walk down the street. Like, if I'm a Dedham resident and start yelling shit outside, you're allowed to do that in a free country. So I don't know. It's going to be impossible to control. I mean, what are they going to do?
That's what I said.
Thousands of people are going to show up, and what are they going to do? Like, they have a right to cheer Karen Reed as she goes into court.
Or to boo her, whatever they want to do.
Well,
they're going to charge everybody. Well, they're going to charge everybody with witness intimidation because
they wouldn't do it to her, but it's like you're allowed to do that to her. We'll see if they hold it up. If there's any if anybody,
the enforcement is key, and Judge Bev did take that out of the proposed order. There will be no reasonable force enforcement.
If anybody yells a single negative word at Karen Reed on her way into court, I'm going to the police with it. And it's like she honestly, she needs to go to the police with it. Go to the Dedham police and say, this person just committed witness intimidation. Like, I'm a potential witness in this case, and this person is harassing me and they're causing me emotional harm. I don't make the rules. You guys set, this is how the law is enforced in this county. You're going to do it uniformly. Like, you don't get to, Chris Albert doesn't just get to cry and say, I'm experiencing emotional harm because I'm a witness. Go lock him up. That he is not a special person. He's not at all. Like, he's actually less than special. He's very below average, and he should not be afforded special privileges that other people don't get.